One of the things that business owners forget a lot is to prepare for their own retirement.
Hi, my name's Nick Palavita, and today I'm with a very special guest, a certified financial planner, a chartered retirement plan specialist, and president of National Pension Partners, Max Couliet. Max, tell me what you do at National Pension Partners.
Well, Nick, we help successful small businesses and professionals put together retirement plans that provide them the maximum retirement benefits and big tax deductions at the same time.
Well, how do you do this?
Well, we get on an internet conferencing system with the client, we review their goals, what they want to accomplish, and then put together strategies to help them in implementing a retirement plan that benefits them, not everybody else.
Well, that sounds really good, but how much does this cost?
Well, it's really not bad because the first consultation is free. That allows us to go through and discover whether this strategy works for that business and for you as the business owner and helping you maximize your retirement.
Well, Max, how do we get this free appointment?
It's really pretty simple, Nick. You can either go to our website below or call us at 877-252-1692, and then we can set up a time with either myself, Nick, or one of our other retirement plan specialists, another CPA or advisor in the office to go over this with you and make sure it fits for you.
Hi, my name is Lewis Haupt. I work with National Pension Partners, and I work with businesses to allow them to put the maximum away that they can for themselves and to save taxes.
Hi, I'm Brad Coyle, and I'm the brokerage manager at National Pension Partners. We're always analyzing plan fund choices in order to ensure the participant's success.
If you want more information on how we can help you and your business put more money away in a retirement plan than you ever thought possible, contact us at the website below or call us at 877-252-.
Mama, Papa, was your suitcase packed but not mine? How could you leave us kids behind? Parents are going on a cruise without us kids, and we know whose fault this is. Virgin Voyages says we can't cruise till we're 18, which makes us shake like we had caffeine. Virgin Voyages says no kids on the ocean, so we're causing a commotion. You'll be sipping cocktails under a starlit night while we're back home without an invite. Sure, you've earned a gourmet spread, but we're experiencing existential dread.
Adults, enjoy the cruise. We know you deserve it, but the fact we can't go is total bull.
Valdosta Nissan has your new Nissan. Come drive yours away today.
Our flagship all-new 2022 Nissan Pathfinder comes with style and new advanced safety technology. Go on a new adventure with just 1.9% financing right now. 2022 Rogues are dropping in daily, also available with just 1.9% financing right now.
Plus, get free oil changes for life and a 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. That's real service after the sale.
The thrill of the drive, only at Valdosta Nissan.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
And Nick, I started this show. I ran a couple of commercials, and then Dr. Sharif popped in, and then I was running across the street. So, how are you doing today?
Oh, good. I didn't see Dr. Sharif or didn't see you. So where'd Dr. Sharif go?
I don't know where he went. I think he put the links to the his network, and then he disappeared. I was asking him a question as I was walking across the street. And then when I came back, I saw you. Y'all did like a magic trick. You became Dr. Sharif. Dr. Sharif became you.
Dr. Sharif may. Oh, there he is. He may show back up again. There he is. Okay. So
And there's Rick.
Hello. Technical difficulties. Rick Rosner has joined us. Lord knows from where. And I had really bad technical difficulties yesterday. I was trying to do Dr. Azar's show. And
Yeah, because you ran a rerun yesterday.
I know, right. But my internet went out. And so the thing is, I was going
Because I came into the room looking for you and Dr. Shah.
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing is, you figure out how dependent you are on the internet. Have your internet go out on you. Okay. Then there goes your phone. There goes your movies. Yep. There goes your Netflix. There goes your StreamYard. Basically, the internet goes down. Everything goes down. So it's a big problem. You know, we're so heavily dependent on it. At least I am. I don't know about everybody else. So
I'll give him mine.
Getting some feedback. Dr. Sharif, how are things going in Bangladesh, your part of the world?
I've got to do a quick history tour. So, Rick, if you and Nick will lead what's going on in the world by checking your source and everything, your usual source, and then I'll join y'all shortly.
Okay. Well, I can tell you what's going on in my neck of the woods. In Spain, in case you guys don't know, Spain is going to the World Cup. So we're big on it. We're going to be playing Argentina this Sunday. And to make it even more exciting, Pedro Santos, which you guys don't know, he's the Prime Minister of Spain, will be sitting in the booth with Donald Trump, and the King of Spain, Felipe, and his daughters and his wife all together. Now, isn't that wonderful? The King of Spain, Donald Trump, the Prime Minister of Spain, all together in one glorious whatever they do. So in Spain world, that's kind of big. It's actually going on to the finals of the World Cup. Now they're playing Argentina, who apparently is the defending champion of the World Cup. So this is going to be a very interesting match, and I'm sure we're all looking forward to that. So anyway, that's the big thing in Spain. The other thing in big Spain is heat wave. It's hot here, but it's hot all over the world right now. By the way, climate change doesn't exist, except the world's getting hotter. Go figure.
Okay. All right, here's the thing. So in the last week, ICE has killed 2 or 3 people. The guy who, the ICE officer who killed the guy in Maine turns out to have a 25-year history of mental illness and violence, and probably shouldn't have been allowed near any kind of law enforcement position at all. So he's been outed. ICE tries to not release the name of a shooter in killing situations, but the family admits that it's this guy named Brulette who his wife divorced him in 2009 because of physical abuse, throwing boiling water at her while she was holding a baby. He's been had mental issues since he was 12 years old. So this gives credence to the idea that ICE does terrible background checks and also inadequate training. What else?
And it's the only thing liberals can talk about, because they won't talk about the 50 murders that took place yesterday. So
yeah, but how many of those murders were committed by law enforcement? Okay, so 100 people die by guns in America every day. Half of those are suicide. So yeah, you got the math right. Yeah. 50 of those were but how many of those murders were by under the?
Yeah, I'm just saying, you guys just don't even talk about it. I mean, it's like if they're now granted, it's the government, so the government moves way up, but how many people in Chicago got killed yesterday? I mean, the thing is that is not reported. In other words, I'd have to go back and look because you can't get that media there.
Yeah, but you're doing this lawyer tactic of shifting the topic. The topic is we have a law enforcement agency with thousands of people who have as little as 6 weeks of training, who have really bad background checks. You've got a bunch of thugs running around and then shooting people in ridiculous situations.
Well, we can go back to this thing. What percentage of this takes place?
That's a bullshit argument. And we have a police agency. Any country where the cops are shooting people for no reason that's a problem, regardless of how many other murders happen. Now, we know that the U.S. murder rate is something like 9 times the rate of your country, Spain. And the U.S. has one of the highest murder rate of any developed country because we have 2 guns for every American adult. Yeah, we're lousy with guns. But here's but you're changing the subject from we have a law enforcement agency, a newly empowered agency, an agency that wasn't what before Trump came in. The ICE was not what it is now. What it is now is you've got a bunch of undertrained, possibly psycho yahoos running around with impunity, where they shoot people.
The last one that was reported was months ago. I mean,
it's not like it's how many? So it's okay if they only shoot somebody once in a while.
And this one,
we had 3 in the last week. We had 2
right now. It's an allegation. I mean, it's not.
No, the eyewitnesses and the video witness shows that the guy lied, that he said he feared for his life. The guy was not.
He might have, and then you'll have your day in court. So what? know,
you have your day in court because the two, Renee Good and Preddy, are those people are not going to have their day in court because ICE is stopping.
Those two is where you lost a lot of credibility.
Yeah,
I mean, if you look at those two cases,
are you just trying to create controversy, or you're just bullshitting to get me pissed off so we have a yelly show? That's it. The Renee Good thing, you can look at that. They've got video from 3 different angles showing she was driving away from him, and she's already passed him. The front of her car is already, and he stands next to the driver's side door and just shoots her like that famous photo on the streets of Vietnam from the Vietnam War, where the guy he shot her in the side of the head after her car was already.
By the way, what was she doing there?
She was she was protesting. So, but anyway, let's not relitigate this stuff.
I mean, I'm
going to move on. I'm tired of this. So
that was
Trump
months ago.
gave a
Lord
speech.
knows how many incidents, how many arrests have taken place, and all of a sudden we got to focus in on this one.
Yeah, you have to focus on the bad shootings. The cops are supposed to do their job adequately, and when
cops are people, they make mistakes. So what? And you know, the thing is, and remember,
he shot her in the side of the head and then called her a fucking bitch after he shot her to death.
I think you are both losing the bigger picture. The bigger picture is that ICE and Oath Keepers and Proud Boys, it's all elements of Trump's private army directed against the United States of America and its citizens. That's all there is. That's why they are immune to prosecution. That's why they are going to continue to interrogate, kill people, and do anything with immunity because they don't have one. And you just don't get it. You don't get it. Don't try to justify, well, he could have done this or it's Trump's private army. Go and kill. That's all there is to it.
You're just making it up, Sasha. I mean, he didn't direct this at all. I mean, the thing is,
how do you know that? How do you know that he didn't? How do you know that he didn't? I think that he did, because there would be no institution like ICE. He does, he directs, and he wants to derail the upcoming election.
Well, let's talk about it.
And it's an element of doing exactly that.
So Trump yesterday gave a speech, a primetime speech, which was mostly about election fraud. He's 6 years later, he's still claiming that he lost the 2020 election and that other people were fraudulently elected, Georgia's 2 senators who were Democrats. And because the major broadcast networks, NBC, CBS, ABC, 2 out of the 3, plus CNN, decided not to run his speech at all and to maybe cut in to programming if he said anything newsworthy, but because the text of the speech or the nature of the speech had been released in advance, they decided it was too political and too bullshit to give TV time to, which has happened in the past. The people said, has this ever happened before? Yeah. The president doesn't get carte blanche. Just because the president says he has stuff he wants to say, the networks don't have to put it on if they don't think it's newsworthy. And last night, a bunch of networks decided that he was going to rehash a bunch of bullshit that's already lost in court. And so they didn't run the speech live.
Oh, isn't that speech supposed to be tonight?
No, it was last night.
Oh, no one watched it because no one cares.
Yeah,
I mean,
because
the reason they
the
didn't run
same
it
crap that he's been saying for 6 years that he's tried to litigate.
No one watched it. No one watches it because no one cares. What they care about is what's going on today. What's going on today is obviously the Iranian conflict, the Ukrainian conflict, the economy. That's what they care about. And of course, all the illegal immigrants, which Trump stopped coming in, whether you guys like it or not.
So to Ukrainian conflict, it's not America's business. Ukrainian war out. You were trying to finish out. Now, Iranian war, that's where America is directly involved big time.
Okay.
They're losing the war. They're now doing all this bombing of Iranian infrastructure and so on. It's not going to help. Iranians for 5,000 years live without any infrastructure and can continue on for another 10,000 years. It doesn't matter. America cannot win this war.
I would like to remind our tiny little country to the north of us that the United States of America is the world's largest economy, and also has the world's largest military. It has the world's largest military budget and can squash Iran like a bug on its shoulder.
All this military budget is money laundering for Pentagon. They're asking for more trillions of dollars to do what? Ukraine showed what today's war is being conducted like. They showed the way, and Pentagon instead gave me $500 billion. Give me $1.5 trillion to do what? What can you do with this money? You can
we can build.
Iran is inflicting damages on your infrastructure in Middle East. They are
let's talk about
So what can you do there? Just get out of there. That's all.
With its $1 trillion military budget, the U.S. spends more money on its military than the next 7 countries combined. If Congress gives Trump and Hegseth what they want, which is another $500 billion, $500 billion, the U.S. will have a military budget that's bigger than the next 18 countries combined. And even so, we're stalemated in Iran unless we want to do boots on the ground and if we want to kill a couple 100,000 Iranians and thousands of U.S. troops, we can do something. Otherwise, we're limited to dropping bombs from the air and missiles and blowing up Iran's infrastructure. And Iran, they had the revolution where the Ayatollahs took over in 79. In 1980, they were attacked by Iraq, which sent in hundreds of thousands of troops, thousands of tanks, dozens and dozens of fighter jets, and Iran held them off from 1980 through 1986. Netanyahu bullshitted Trump into thinking that Iran would be a cakewalk and that the regime would just tip over. No, we're now stuck in this conflict where unless Trump wants to fully mobilize ground forces, we are not going to tip over the Iranian regime. And even with ground forces, U.S. ground forces would have to march 320 miles.
Eric, I'm curious.
Get to the
What's
capital.
the military budget of Iran? What's their annual
$50, I think.
No, they've got the 7th largest army in the world. They have 1 million troops that they can muster.
But budget, how much money it costs them to do whatever they do.
I don't know, but
that would be interesting to figure out, because I'm surprised why American media, American people are not asking. So you got $1 trillion and you cannot defeat Iran. So where is the money? What are you doing with the money?
Iran's military budget, $9 billion. That's
it's nothing.
1% of the U.S.'s military budget. So they spend
they don't really have an army. They have a bunch of people.
They have 1 million troops. They
million people. When we invaded Iraq, they had 1 million troops. They couldn't do jack with them.
Yeah, but I just told you that Iran, with its army, held off Iraq for 6 years after Iraq invaded them with hundreds of thousands of troops. So Iran is not going to tip over. That regime is not going to go away just because we keep hitting them with bombs and missiles. They held off a land invasion for 6 years.
Yeah. What my point is, though, is Iran obviously cannot defeat United States. We all know that. Let's be realistic. What Iran wants to extract as much blood and tears and fears from the United States. So it will be impossibly difficult and politically probably impossible operation to invade Iran. That's what they're playing their cards. So here is the Strait of Hormuz. The oil prices keep going higher now these days again. And so they understand the election, this midterm coming up. Iranians know all that, every single thing. So they are playing a game to extract as much blood from United States and specifically Donald Trump administration as possible. That's their game, and they're winning this game.
Oh, okay. I have a couple questions for my illustrious panel. Number one, is this a war between the U.S. and Iran, or is it Donald Trump and his wonderful entourage versus Iran?
Which is Trump and Hegseth. It's Trump and Hegseth.
All right. Then I have question number two. Is Donald Trump, Hegseth, and his wonderful people, are they sane or are they insane? Or are they
insane? For sure.
Okay. Do you guys want to get in a war with an insane person?
No, rather than insane, I would say
predict what an insane person is going to do.
This war, we know from New York reporting that on February 14th, Netanyahu spent 3 hours in the Oval Office haranguing Trump, persuading Trump, who we know is easily persuaded. Netanyahu has tried to do this for 20 years, going to presidents and saying, let's knock over Iran. It'll be easy. Trump was the only president dumb enough to fall for Netanyahu's arguments. And then Hegseth is incompetent. Hegseth never rose higher than major. He lacks the experience and expertise and training that most secretaries of defense have. The previous secretary of defense was a 4-star general who'd run the Joint Chiefs. And Hegseth was a Fox News loudmouth who lost his previous 2 jobs for incompetence, who had to pay $50,000 for sexual assault in a hot tub, in a hotel hot tub. He's a lunatic, like you say, madman. I would say just more incompetent than crazy.
Okay, after all the ranting, since you guys know everything, Rick, what would you do in this situation?
What if I got into this stupid?
Okay, we just nominated you to be president of the United States, President Rick Rosner. Okay, you have a conflict in Iran. That's what you inherited from your friend Donald Trump.
First of all, I would hide
move that you make on the chessboard rather than go.
I'm telling you, you asked me a question.
Yeah, right.
The first thing I would do is I would appoint competent people to advise me. I wouldn't. Hegseth has been firing generals who disagree with him. So half of the success of a president, maybe more than half, is to appoint competent people and listen to them. Trump, his second term, has appointed loyalists who are shitty at their jobs. And Hegseth is case number one. He's got a demonstrated history of being bad at leadership. He ran 2 military charities into the ground. He got fired from his previous 2 positions. He's got just look him up. He doesn't have any of the training. He was not on a leadership track in the military. If you plan to become a general, you go to war school. You do a bunch of stuff. Hegseth didn't do any of that stuff. He was just a freaking loudmouth on Fox News. And he doesn't listen to his generals. He fires them if they disagree with him. So the first thing I would do is convene a bunch of people who've got decent track records in war fighting for the United States. We've been fighting wars. We've fought a bunch of wars in the past 30 years, and we did very well in some of them. Like the first Iraq war, the ground war lasted 4 days. We beat them in 4 freaking days. I would see who's still around from that war, and the generals from that war, I'd say, what are we doing wrong? What can we do now? I'd get decent advice. That's not happening now.
Okay, that was too good of an answer, so I'm going to get rid of you. And find another answer. Okay, you're in charge. What would you do, Sasha, in this particular situation? What would be your move on the chessboard, counselor?
Well, the first position, of course, is to appoint competent people, listen to their advice, not necessarily agree to the advice, and maybe there will be more than one advice, I'm pretty sure. But that's where it would all start. Second thing, I would consider, okay, here is the United States of America with a set of domestic problems, the high prices, the unaffordability, the economy is not doing that well. Okay, so I would try to concentrate on domestic issues and then figure out how the foreign issues can help domestic issues, or maybe should be dismissed at least for a while until domestic situation will improve. I would try to put interests of American people on the forefront. Trump is putting his own and his family and his advisors, his cabinet people, more than any American people put together. He doesn't care about American people. And he even said that himself, because he enjoys impunity. He enjoys the situation where he can say anything what he wants, and there will be no backlash from Republicans or from anybody else. So that's where he just gets a joy as much as American people, as they can afford houses, they can afford food on the table. He enjoys it more than anything. He just thinks, here I am. I'm a great Donald Trump. I'm a friend of all the trillionaires and Elon Musk and everybody else. And you are in dirt, and you'll be there for the rest of your life, your children and your grandchildren. Ha, ha, ha. That's what he is.
Yeah, and unfortunately, your answers are both correct. And appointing competent people, I think, is the hallmark not of this administration, because you're only as good as the people that you surround yourself with. Am I missing something? You know,
no. I'm looking back on Lincoln was famous. There's a book by Doris Kearns Goodwin called Team of Rivals, which is about how
I have it.
So Lincoln was facing the greatest challenge in the history of the U.S., a civil war, the country coming apart. He appointed to his cabinet a bunch of people who were well regarded but didn't agree with him. 3 of the members of his cabinet had run against him for president in 1860, in the election that he won. And so he wanted a bunch of people with different points of view, and I guess they argued a lot, and that he needed to be told, that he was stupid, that this is a bad decision, and they needed to hash out and come up with the best possible. I mean, even so, it took 4 years to win the Civil War. Lincoln had to keep firing his generals for incompetence and cowardice, and it took him a long time to find the generals, Sherman and Grant.
Sherman and Grant. Yeah, they basically won the war for him, but he had competent people to surround himself with. Now let's talk about Todd Blanche. Speaking about competent person, or maybe incompetent person, what is your thoughts about Todd? He's right now up to be Attorney General of the United States. Now, my second cousin, Bill Saxby, was the Attorney General of the United States. He was under Nixon and Ford. In other words, he survived Nixon's firing of all the AGs.
Right. We don't know much I mean, most people don't remember him, probably because he wasn't memorable, probably because if you do a good job in that position. You're
just out the door. But so Bill Saxby, he was from Ohio. He was kind of a normal person, to be honest with you. And he became AG because he was a senator from Ohio, and that's how you get those positions. But now let's take a look at Todd. Here's good things. Like I said, he went to law school at night. This guy really had to bust his tail, and then became a partner eventually at Cattleman, Wickersham and Taft, which is one of the top law firms in the United States, one of the top law firms in New York City. He became a partner. So I look at his CV, I'm going, that's pretty strong. Even though he went to Brooklyn Law School, usually they won't even interview somebody from Brooklyn Law School. But then here's the problem that people are having. He actually was the attorney general behind Trump versus the IRS, which the federal judge correctly threw out. Because the thing is, it's almost like you're suing Donald Trump individually, is suing an administration that he's in control of.
You
the Internal Revenue
Service.
Service
Yourself. You cannot.
Yeah, and it's called fraud on the court. Everybody in first-year law school knows about fraud on the court. I mean, it was one of the first things I learned. That's fraud on the court. So Kathy Williams, who I went to law school with, she graduated in 82. I never met her, but we were in the same class together at the University of Miami. She was the federal judge that correctly threw it out. In other words, and sent him to the bar associations for possible reprimand because he knew or should have known you don't do those games. Well, the real question is right now, rather than him going in front of the bar, possibly being disbarred, by the way, he's up for Attorney General of the United States of America, Todd. And the Heritage Group, who may be listening to this, is defending him. And it's the thing is, and you know how they're defending him? Liberals are bad. Liberals suck. We hate the left.
All right, here's the good thing about Todd.
They didn't say one thing of substance. So
here's the good thing about Todd Blanche. You can judge a book by the cover. He looks like exactly the guy he actually is. He's feisty. He's pissed.
He's a hard fighter. Yeah.
He looks like a resentful mofo, and he's the embodiment of Trump's resentments. And it's been said repeatedly under Trump that the attorney general isn't supposed to be the president's lawyer, it's supposed to be America's lawyer. You know, the opposite of Blanche was Merrick Garland, who wasn't feisty enough.
Right. Yeah.
Biden made a mistake in appointing, this very calm, methodical AG who took too long to prosecute Trump.
Well, Merrick Garland should be on the Supreme Court if it wasn't for your friend Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, well Merrick Garland, so Obama kind of knew he would have trouble getting a justice through, regardless of who he nominated. So he nominated the most harmless, innocuous justice. He didn't nominate like a fierce partisan, like an Alito, like a Gorsuch. He did this guy that was supposed to be easy to swallow, and McConnell wouldn't even give him a hearing.
Right. Yeah. Well, I just thought it was kind of interesting that McConnell actually basically just kicked him out. Well, what are your thoughts about the Heritage Foundation? I hate when organizations use foundations as if they're sacrosanct organizations. Private foundations definitely are not. But I'm just curious what you thought of that.
To right-wing think tanks like the Heritage Foundation, because they get their agendas enacted. And
I want to hear from Jacoby. Does he like the Heritage Foundation or not? I think they're totally off base when it comes to Todd Blanche and how they defended him, which was no substance at all. They had some, quote, legal scholar who did not put one argument for. All he did is rant and rave, liberals are bad, conservatives are good, liberals are attacking Todd. He didn't say what the issues were at all. And it just really upsets me when somebody spends all their time on LinkedIn ranting and raving, but not presenting like one substantive issue. But you might like the Heritage Organization, Jacoby, because you like heritage type things. So what are your thoughts on the Heritage Organization, Jacoby?
They're a right-wing extreme think tank. They're no different. They're
never going to make
what you see at CPAC is what you see at the Heritage Foundation. They're the ones that came up with Project 2025. They're an extreme right-wing think tank.
Oh, did they come up with Project 2025?
Yes, they are the publishers of Project 2025. And this is not just a a year 2025 project. They change the name every few years. It probably started off as Project 2000, and every few years, this is the first time they got a president that is his platform. But the Heritage Foundation does two things that I think are good, because it defeats its own purpose. One is they do an election fraud database. They have a database of every documented instance of election fraud in the U.S. in the past 30 years. And their own database shows that the rate of election fraud in the U.S. is roughly 1 vote in a million is cast fraudulent.
That's what I thought.
So
that's the reason, Rick, I thought the election fraud
I have a
issue is
question.
a loser.
I've communicated enough lately with the people, some mostly independents, who were watching for Trump on the idea that, yeah, we know that he's a fraud, he's a con man, and so on. Yeah, it's all known. But it's still a lesser evil than Kamala Harris. Now, I'd like to ask you a question. So what would have happened now in United States of America if Kamala Harris would win election? What would be the same? What would be the different? And would be Americans better off with Kamala Harris when there would be no war in Iran, there would be no stupid threats against Europe and Canada and Cuba and Norway and just name it. Just let me know.
Here's what would be the same. Congressional paralysis. So the Congress would still be equally divided and unwilling to get together to do anything. Harris had this plan to give first-time home buyers $50,000 towards buying their house, and so she would try to enact that, and Congress wouldn't play ball with her, and so she might have to do an executive order, and then it would go through the courts, and the courts would shoot it down, and it wouldn't happen. That would be kind of similar to some of Trump's stuff. So we would still see, but we wouldn't see, like, as you said, we wouldn't be at war in Iran. We might be negotiating with Iran, as we did before under Obama, to see if we could get them to limit their nuclear program, but we wouldn't have gone to war.
Well, yeah, you're speculating too much what would happen. So, I will tell you, a lot of the Republicans I talked to did not vote for Donald. They voted against Kamala Harris. In other words, they didn't want her because that's
similar to Biden. In 2020,
their perception is she's too liberal.
In 2020,
she's too liberal for America.
In 2020, 81 people voted for Biden. A lot of those people weren't voting for Biden as much as they were voting against the shitty job Trump did in 2020.
Right.
So I don't think there would be congressional paralysis. Reason I say that is because the Congress under Trump administrations passed the least amount of legislation. When Biden was in office, he did get some legislation through. And if Kamala were in office, she'd still be on that same negotiating side and not the my way or the highway situation. And that's the problem that Trump has, is that you must do things my way. And that's what's creating a lot of this paralysis. So I'll disagree that that there would be paralysis, because again, under the Biden administration, there were major legislative things enacted. So there wouldn't be as much paralysis. There still be things going through.
I don't know, because Biden had been a senator for 32 years. He had twice as much experience in the Senate as any other president in history. So he was probably able to leverage his connections and understand how the Senate works.
Well, it's also the fact of who you put in the positions that you're working with. Biden, if you look at his cabinet, was different than what Trump did. Biden's cabinet was, much more negotiable than what Trump's is, because it's coming from a top-down mentality. What you point out about Biden is true. I mean, he came from the legislative side, so therefore he knew, okay, we got to negotiate. Trump has always been the boss in his family, even though he's been a crook the whole time, he's been the boss and making these decisions on and not being questioned on these decisions. Regardless if you're bankrupting a casino, he's still not being questioned by the people under him, because what does he do?
He had no people under him. I've heard
exactly.
The Trump organization consisted of 4 people. If you walked into Trump's offices on a normal business day, they were almost empty. He was beholden to nobody. He had nobody questioning him. He ran this little mom and pop organization, licensing his name to buildings.
Yep, and that's what Trump did. So to answer Sasha's question, things would be a lot better. We wouldn't have screwworm hitting the U.S. after 60 years. We wouldn't have basically the new Oregon Trail happening where everybody's pooping themselves to death happening in the U.S. We wouldn't have measles outbreak happening in the U.S. We wouldn't have these diseases and all this other problems that we're having.
People are pooping, but they're not pooping to death.
Well, there have been, I think, 1 or 2 deaths already.
Have there? Okay.
Yeah.
But mostly people are shitting.
We wouldn't have the military being run rampant with the flu. We wouldn't have the military with now gender affirming care happening. We wouldn't have all these dumb things. We wouldn't have a blockade happening in the middle of the Strait of Hormuz, driving gas prices up.
Hold on, let's go back to gender affirming care. For people who haven't been paying attention, Hegseth said that everybody in the military over 30 is going to have their testosterone tested. That's the male hormone that makes you manly. And if your testosterone levels are low, Hegseth says the military will pay to get you hormone treatment so you have higher levels of testosterone. So you're like,
yeah, it's stupid. But again, so to answer Sasha's questions, things would be in a better place. The relationship that we have with Canada would not be, destroyed. The relationship that we have with Mexico would not be destroyed. It's just that right now, the individual that we have at the top is destroying a ton of stuff. And Kamala Harris, she would not have gone down the path of, hey, we're going to tear up the USMCA because it was the worst deal ever negotiated, even though Trump negotiated that deal and everything. We wouldn't have all these extra tariffs and all. It just wasn't. What Trump is doing is what bankrupted the casinos. It's what people said. If Trump touches it, it turns to crap.
Well, the ballroom. Kamala Harris wouldn't try to build a new ballroom.
Exactly. Exactly. We wouldn't have the freaking reflection pool with no water in it again.
So, but here's under Harris, it would be like it was under Biden, but worse because Biden had 50 years of political experience. Harris has less.
I disagree with that. I mean, we keep saying that she wasn't as experienced yet, that she was basically she has been in the political world for a very long time. And then it goes back to who you place around you. And so I disagree that it would be worse.
Well, here's the deal. I'm not saying things would be better, but we know the Republican playbook for Obama, for Harris, for Biden, which is things are not terrible. There's not chaos so much, but the Republicans go on Fox and all their canned sources, and they talk about how terrible everything is. The economy actually got really good under Biden, but not if you watch Fox News. So like Harris, Biden has a speech impediment. So every time Biden stumbled, you'd see a loop of his stumbles on Fox News. Harris was known for giving kind of the wordy, not direct answers to questions. You'd see there'd be clip reels of her giving not great answers on Fox. Things would actually be pretty good, pretty not chaotic. But if you listen to Fox, you'd think it was the worst time in history.
But wait a minute, Rick. What are you guys going to say when we're broadcasting on Fox in probably the next?
I don't know. I got to hook up my Trumpy friend Lance so we can have.
I'm saying the same thing.
I'm saying the same thing. you think? Since I listened to your programs and your anti-Fox rants, I'm wondering how long we're going to last on Fox.
Well, no, we gotta.
We're going to call from somebody upstairs. Well, we're going to go pull your contracts.
Yeah. All right. You're right. As a general point, maybe I shouldn't say Fox.
No, I don't really care. Honestly, I don't care. IBM pulled our contracts. Okay.
The thing is,
I mean, I don't really give a rat's rear about big corporate America. So you guys should say what you want to say, and them, because Fox would just be one of our broadcasting. We're still broadcasting on Amazon. We'll broadcast somewhere else if they're going to be. But I'm going to be very curious to see how Pod TV becomes a Fox broadcasting network. I just go.
I mean, it may get pushed out, but because of the decentralization. Hey, go to Zateo. I like Mehdi Hassan.
Jacoby, it may take them a while to find out about us. I'm serious. In other words, these IBM took 2 years before they said, "Well, we really don't want you to be IBM TV," and then they ripped our. We went to WIPO. I don't know if you know that. We went to the World Intellectual Trade Organization. We had a dispute with them, and they ripped our contract off. But let me tell you, IBM also had the contract with WIPO to put all their systems together. So they had like an inside straight. So we had like no chance with WIPO. I argued that, it was ours. We owned IBM TV, whether they liked it or not. But their arguments prevailed in WIPO, and WIPO has the ultimate say on your URL. And they ripped it off. I don't know what games Fox is going to play when they hear you guys.
Fox's slogan used to be fair and balanced, and they like to have a minority liberal presence. There's a show they run every afternoon called The Five, and it's generally for conservatives and Jessica Tarlov, who's a liberal. And they like throwing the liberal in there for hate watching. The conservative Fox News viewers love to watch her and get all pissed off at her, and it's 4 against 1. They used to have a show called Hannity and Combs, which was Sean Hannity versus their in-house liberal, who was kind of like me, an incompetent debater who always got his, Hannity ate his lunch, and so Fox likes a certain amount of liberal rhetoric as long as the conservatives win.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't
hate
watch
me.
Fox. I hardly ever saw. I see maybe one Fox show a year. I'm just not a big Fox fan. So Fox and Friends and all that, Fox and this. Not really interested in what they have to say. I've been watching the Heritage Foundation because they're on LinkedIn, and I'm very interested in what they have to say. But the last time they said, all they did is rant and rave. I am not interested in rant and raving. I want to hear substantive arguments. And the Heritage Foundation came with no substantive arguments.
Well, I mentioned the Heritage Foundation does 2 good things. Another good thing the Heritage Foundation does is they publish an annual list of index of economic freedom, which is basically a list of which countries are the most free market capitalistic. And their own numbers from Heritage Foundation show that the U.S. is not becoming socialist.
Oh, no, definitely not. Are you kidding me? It's not even close. I live in Europe. Europe is definitely moves the meter the other way. I mean, all the policies here are more socialist than the U.S. The U.S. is like, it's not even capitalism. It's brutal capitalism. And you can even tell it in chess terms. It's what Sasha knows about. It's winner take all, and everybody else eats granite.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, we're still.
Europe,
I don't know that we're in the top 20. The top 20 capitalistic countries are these little rich ass countries like Singapore,
or Monaco.
Yeah, where it's 3 million people. The average wealth is the average Singaporean probably is worth $500,000.
You're right. Singapore is a very small city state, and it's a very wealthy country. But when they knock democratic socialism, you have to look at Norway, Finland, and Sweden and Denmark, and those countries are doing very well economically, and almost by every possible metric. So when they knock universal health care, by the way, have universal health care here in Spain, but our health care costs are 1/3 of the United States. And why you guys don't have universal health care, it still boggles my mind. You've got a really inept healthcare system.
Well, you know, you can accomplish a lot in like Norway, Sweden, Finland, when everybody is slim and beautiful and everybody's having sex with beautiful people. Everybody's happy and they're like, okay, we'll do socialism. We're getting laid.
You're talking about Latvia, which apparently has all these beautiful women and no guys.
Yeah, so like whenever, so all the guys are happy, so they're you don't have like the rancor you have in the plus Latvia has, I think, Estonia has fewer than 2 million people. All these countries are smaller than a lot of our cities, and it's easier to get people together.
That's absolutely true. You know,
well,
and
probably in like these
population-wise,
countries, they have brutal winters. You know, they're like Latvia. They're all way north, so they have, you know, in the winter they only get like 4 hours of sunlight, so they're probably drunk all winter. Which, you know, they hang out in pubs and they get shit-faced, and that probably also contributes to being able to team up and do stuff.
Yeah, did your daughter permanently move to Great Britain?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Have you ever gone over to Norway or Sweden or Finland?
No, we keep planning to. The last time we took a side trip was to Belgium, and Belgium was kind of boring, but in an interesting way, because the people were very chill. It looked like a very soothing country to live in.
Right. Right. I'm going to be in Scotland in about a week or so. So I'm not going to be doing any shows, but if Mark sends me the link, I'll try to appear. And I'll be in Scotland and the Orkney Islands for a month. So I'm just getting out of the hot weather here in Spain. By the way, Spain, Barcelona, we're in the same horizontal plane of Chicago and New York, and it is hot here. So in Scotland, I checked the weather, high of 68.
Yeah.
In Edinburgh, I mean, it just doesn't get hot.
You have warm clothes with you?
I do. I'm going to take all my warm clothes with me, Sasha. I'm not stupid. You know, I'm going to take all the warm clothes because
I'd argue that the super northern countries, Scotland is the northernmost member of Great Britain, and they have a really short summer. It doesn't get that hot, and then they have long, dark winters. And I would say that does a lot for solidarity because there's pub culture in all these northern countries. Everybody huddles in pubs all week.
They do. Yeah, they have what they call Cayleys, which are like parties that go on every night in pubs. And we went there in 92 or 93, went to a lot of their Cayleys and pubs. It's a whole different way of life. But we're also going to go to the Orkneys because they have Skara Brae. And that is a very interesting archaeological site that was 5,000 years old, older than the pyramids. It's these, it was basically a city in the Orkneys, which is north of Scotland. It's an island that people used to live there 5,000 years ago. It boggles my mind why you would want to live that far north.
It's insane because it's even more northern than frickin' Scotland.
Yeah, that's correct. It's more northern than Scotland. It's called Skara Brae, and it's a very famous archaeological site. I always wanted to go see it, but to get there is not easy. You got to take a boat, you know, to get there, and then you have to get a tour guide and try to get a hotel. Good luck, because the Orkneys they don't have a lot of hotels.
No, and it's wind whip. Like half of the year, like they have brutal sea winds, like the ocean.
But I don't get why people would live there 5,000 years ago. In other words,
for
that's
the
a long
fish,
time ago.
There were a ton of fish. But what would happen in the U.S. if a dictator took over and said 6 months of the year, everybody every night has to go to a bar and drink all night? And MAGAs have to drink with crazy liberals, and we're going to do this for 6 months a year. I would bet that Americans would get along better, and that's what goes on in all these northern countries.
It's that's true. They don't like I said, in Spain the crime rate is like 0.6% of what is in the U.S. It's way too safe here. I mean, you know, I've never seen fights, arguments, or any garbage.
Yeah,
when I used to live in
everybody's too
Miami,
busy, like-
I tell you something, it was like a war zone. You know,
Everybody,
I love
like,
Miami.
I'm sure you walk down the street and there are all these sidewalk cafes and people are
Everywhere.
eating tapas and drinking sangria and like are and hitting on each other.
And
And,
watching soccer. Don't forget that.
And they're going to be watching soccer. And in Barcelona, they have 8,400 cafes. I mean, it's huge. You know, I don't get it, but it's like I said, it's a whole different way of life than in America. America, you're spread out, you know, like crazy. And you're right. The people, they don't talk to each other, and they throw barbs at each other on the internet. But I guess we got to get going. We have a chess show coming up also, right? No, it's a recording, right?
Well, show will be tomorrow, but the recording will be in 1 hour at 12 o'clock.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
And
All right,
Have a good weekend, everybody.
yeah. So yeah, for the weekend, we'll see you, Mark, next week. Take care. We got to run out of here. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Mark.